What's up, Timmy's here. Well, September came and went, and lots of really good and some not so good films I saw in the month of September. So I pretty much saw about 28 films in September. So here is my ranking from the films I thought was terrible to the ones I thought was okay to my favorite. So here is my official list. All right, number 28, the worst film I saw in the month of September is Strangers Chapter 2. This movie just is abysmal. Probably even worse than Chapter 1, in my opinion. You know, it's not all that great. The acting by Madeline Petch, which I like Madeline Petch on Riverdale, but even she wasn't enough to save us. It wasn't all that scary. Uh, a little like the whole twist with Tabitha of who Tamara is terrible. I mean, it's just a really terrible one, and yeah, I can't say I'm more that excited for the dirt one, but who knows? All right, number 27, another terrible horror film, and that is Him. Of course, this is the Marlon Wayans, Jordan Peele, the Jordan Peele produced horror film, where rising quarterback Cam, played by Tyreek Withers, trains in this compound of his idol, Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans, who of course alongside his influencer wife, and obviously, there's grueling sessions with like into psychological torment and all. This movie is just not so great. Other than the acting by Marlon Wayans and Tyler Brothers, some of the other acting isn't so great. It's not all that scary. It's completely boring at times. I mean, it's just horrible dialogue. It's just a really bad one. And shame too, because I really was hoping to see like a really good sport horror movie because that's definitely seemed very original, but yeah, wasn't so great. All right, number 26. Or number 25. My bad. Number 25. Not 25. 24. My bad. Number 24. I meant to say is Takeout. Which is which is of course a Tubi original movie where like these three wisecracking coworkers suspect like this creepy regular guy is a serial killer after like spotting his eerie clues in his takeout order, and of course like they dig deeper into spiral into like amateur sleuths gone wrong here. And it's just not so great. Like terrible twist at the end. It doesn't really doesn't really tell you if it wanted to be a horror or not. Terrible like horrible characters. It's not a good one. All right, number 23 is A Big Bold Beautiful Journey. This one I was really hoping to like. I thought the trails looked decent. You got, two of my favorite actors of Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie. I'm like, this could be interesting. It is one of the most boringest movie I have ever seen in recent years. This of course stars like Margot Robbie, Colin Farrell, who stumbles through like a magical doors, granting glimpses of like past moments here, and it's just so boring, so terrible. The chemistry between Robbie and Farrell was great. I was gonna do my review for it, but I didn't feel like to do a review for that. So, too bad I totally forgot, but it's just not a great one. I had no idea what the heck was going on with this thing. Not sure if they want like if this thing wanted to be a sci-fi film or whatever. It's just a really bad one. All right, coming in at number 22 is another like science romance type film titled All of You. Now, this is of course a romantic film that stars Brett Goldstein and Namuga Poots, and this is actually an Apple original film. I actually just checked this one out this week. Also, it's not so great. It definitely has a little bit of like the Big Bold Beautiful Journey vibe here. But this time around, it's where like it takes place in like a near future where the test matches like soulmates, lifelong best friends Simon and Laura, played by Goldstein and Poots, harboring unspoken love and navigates like decades spanning heartbreaks here. And like the chemistry between Goldstein and Poots is great, but it was also pretty boring. Didn't really do anything for me. I did not really care much for these characters at all. It's yeah, again, I like Goldstein, I like Poots, but this definitely wasn't their best effort here. All right, now you know what? Number 21 and 20 are actually both Sydney Sweeney movies that came out obviously in August. but I was a little late to the party with both of them, and they're both actually pretty bad. First up, we got the Ron Howard movie, Eden, which I could definitely see why this thing flopped. It's really boring. Like, it is so bad. I did not care for these characters at all. You know, they were trying to like make it very erotic and whatever, but it wasn't even that. It's just yeah, not so great. And shame too, because you do got people in this I like. You got Vanessa Kirby, Jude Law, Sydney Sweeney, Ana de Armas. I kid you not. This movie is probably Ron Howard's worst film, even worse than the film he did about JD Vance. So yeah, that's definitely saying something. All right. Um, Coming in at number 20 is another Sydney Sweeney film, and that is Americana. I want you to like this one too because you got Sydney Sweeney, you got Paul Walter Hauser, Halsey like Eric Dane, but it's also not so great. This is also from the same people who gave us like Poker Face and all. Where of course like this artifact hits the black market. And you got a shy waitress played by Sweeney. This lovelorn vet played by Hauser, a cult leader played by Halsey, and a ruthless dealer played by Eric Dane. And of course, as alliances like Fraction Giovanni chases here. This is of course a neo western that pays homage to like the Coens, but it's just not so great. It's boring at times, not all that funny. Definitely feel definitely really felt like they were trying to be the Coens or Tarantino s, but it wasn't even that. All right, coming in at number 19 is the Tyler Perry produced film Roof and Boz. Now, I just thought this was just okay. I didn't really think it was bad. I didn't think it was terrible. I just think it was just an okay little film. This of course, we're like this singer named Ruth, played by Soraya, becomes like a caregiver to a widowed vineyard owner, played by Felicia Rashad, and of course she pretty much finds solace with Naomi's son Bose, played by Tyler Lippe, and this actually does. It is produced by Tyler Perry. It is a modern retelling of the biblical Book of Ruth. I mean, it's alright. It has some decent music in it. The chemistry between Soraya, who I liked on Empire, was okay. I mean, it's an okay little film. It's also produced by Devon Franklin. Obviously, gets very preachy at times, but it's an okay one. All right. Coming in at number 18 is The Man in My Basement. Now, I really wanted to like this one too, but it really wasn't all that great. I mean, you do now. I would give it this. Corey Hawkins and William Dafoe was great in this thing. This of course stars Corey Hawkins, who plays this man named Charles Blakely, who is facing foreclosure on his ancestral home. But this white businessman, played by William Dafoe, um, pretty much acts for a price, and he actually literally builds like a jail inside his basement, which crazy there. I mean, yeah, it's an okay film here. I mean, the chemistry, like of course, the chemistry between the likes of Corey Hawkins and of course William Dafoe's pretty good. Definitely has some creepy aspects, but it's just a little boring at times. You know, was a little confusing throughout here. I mean, it's just an okay film, but it's nothing really go by. All right, coming in at number 17 is Swiped. Now, of course, Swiped is about Whitney Wolf, played by Lily James, who obviously is the co-founder of the dating app Bumble. I know Lily James was pretty solid in this. It definitely I really did quite like how the story of Bumble was told. I mean, I don't really use none of these dating apps, or whatever, but I always do like these type of true stories of how something was created and whatever. And I thought Lily James was pretty decent. Dan Stevens was okay in this. I mean, it's not like a great film, but definitely is an okay watch. All right. Coming in at number 16 is a film I don't think many people really heard of, and it's a movie called Griffin in Summer. This is about this middle schooler played by Everett Blunk, who stages like a basement productions of his in his suburban home. And of course, like this handyman played by Owen T, a failed New York City artist arrives for repairs. He of course has like rehearsal and and he wants to have him be in his play and stuff. It's actually a decent little coming of age tale. Everett was pretty good. Owen T, Catherine Newton was really good in this one. A pretty charming little coming of age tale. All right. Coming in at number 15 is American Sweatshop. I think this was an okay little thriller. It stars Lily Reinhardt. Speaking of Riverdale, as like this as this content moderator Daisy Marati, who shifts through like the internet's darkest corners in a soul crushing gig, which I never really knew that was a real gig. But anyway, and of course a graphic video of a violent crime slips through, and she of course is trying to find pretty much her obsessive quest for justice pulls her offline into investigations here. Lily Reinhardt is excellent in this. She really obviously definitely plays the part very well. It gets pretty intense at times, crazy twists and turns. I mean, it's a really decent little thriller there. All right, coming in at number 14 is the film Adulthood. Now, this movie stars Josh Gad and Casa Gadario as adult siblings who discover like a long buried corpse in their childhood home's basement after their mother stroke, and obviously, like as they probe the decades old crime tied to their parents, there's like cover ups here. It's directed by Alex Winter, who you might know from Bill and Ted fame. He did a good job with this one. Really, like, definitely has a little bit of like that dark comedy element. Definitely has like that Fargo feel to it, like that Coen Bros. As you know, this actually does like this actually is more of a better Coen Bros. Like movie than American Connor was, in my opinion. Definitely has some fun laughs to it. I mean, it's always funny hearing Olaf himself curse at times. So Adulthood is a really decent one. All right. Coming in at number 13 is of course is yes, I decided to say this one because it's DreamWorks and it's actually not so bad. I'm actually going with the Gabby's Dollhouse movie. Now, I'm not gonna pretend I really watch Gabby's Dollhouse at all. Like I really don't. But I still decided to go see the film because it is DreamWorks Animation. Who I'll watch anything DreamWorks does, no matter what they put out. I'll give a DreamWorks Animation film a go. I mean, they have obviously had some good stuff I've enjoyed, like Shrek, and some not so good stuff I did not like, such as the last Trolls movie. I was not a fan of that one. I thought this was pretty decent. I mean, it was cool hearing Jason Mantzoukas in this. Kristen Wiig I thought was pretty fun. I mean, it's definitely good for the for the youngster crowds and whatever. So not a bad little film there. All right. Coming in at coming in at number 12 is Light of the World. Now, of course, Light of the World is of course, is told through the wide-eyed perspective of young Upsal John, and is of course retelling chronicles Jesus's ministry. I don't think I'm not really the world's biggest when it comes to like religious films, or whatever. But, I thought the animation was pretty decent. Uh, Obviously, it was like more, yeah, it was more 2D animation, which you don't really get much nowadays. I mean, I thought it was charming, really decent, interesting voice acting here. Like, I really love how they blend vivid 2D animation with like heartfelt storytelling, and it's a really decent one there. All right, coming in at number 11. This, of course, that came out like in July, but I was a little late to the part of it because it finally premiered in September. So I decided to finally give a watch in September, and that is Bambi: The Reckoning. Obviously, the twisted horror reimagining of the classic tale of a toxic of the young deer Bambi into vengeful like grief stricken beast here. And the movie is a lot of fun. It is entertaining. Love the kills throughout. It is a really fun one, and obviously set in the Twisted Childhood universe. Cannot wait for the Pinocchio one. That's gonna be pretty cool. All right. Now, okay. Uh, Now, of course, coming in at number 11 here is a Shudder horror film titled Night of the Reaper. Now, if you guys don't know much about Night of the Reaper, it is, of course, a Shudder original film and a throwback to the 80s slashers where college student Deanna, played by Jessica Clement, returns home for a babysitting gig amid whispers of a mass killer dubbed the Reaper who preys on sitters here. And the movie definitely feels like a throwback to the 80s slasher praise, Halloween and stuff. It is pretty cool, crazy twist around. Some of the kills are pretty cool. I had a fun time with this one, and it's well worth watching. All right, now here is my official top 10. Number 10 is actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I actually thought it was pretty charming. Number 10 is The Wrong Paris. This of course is about artist Dawn, played by Miranda Cosgrove, who of course desperate for tuition. She would attend art school in Paris, France, joining a reality show that she believes, of course, is filmed in Paris, France, but it's obviously Paris, Texas. And of course, she ends up meeting a cowboy bachelor Trey, played by Pearson Fode, who is of course and of course you got some contestants here. This movie definitely is a really definitely blends the rom com tropes here. And takes a jab at like those reality TV dating shows like The Bachelor, Love Island, or whatever. And Miranda Cosgrove, she was far better in this than she was in that terrible the terrible one she just did with Brooke Shields. So not a bad one here. All right, number 9 is Downton Abbey, the grand finale. I don't know if Downton Abbey, the grand finale. I'm not really much of a Downton Abbey guy, but I thought the finale was pretty decent. Obviously a great way to end the Downton Abbey universe off. Uh, I really love the tribute to the late great Maggie Smith. I mean, it's Michelle Dockery was great. It is a really decent as a heartfelt conclusion to the Julian Fellows saga. All right, coming in at number 8, I'm actually going to go with Spinal Tap 2. Spinal Tap 2, of course, is the follow up to, this is Spinal Tap. And I thought Spinal Tap 2, while not as good as the original, I still thought it was pretty decent. The ending definitely really cracked me up a little. Seeing like Michael McCain, Christopher Guest, Harry Shire back was pretty cool. I mean, ain't no one wants you to go see it though, but I still had a fun time. I really just loves hanging out with these characters again, and it's a really decent one there. All right, coming in at number 7 is the film The Senior. Now, this movie, of course, stars Michael Chiklis as a 59-year-old grandfather, father, and ex-linebacker Mike Flint, who decides who, of course, decades after like a career-ending hit, uh, of course, decides to become a linebacker at age 59. And Michael Chiklis, I thought was excellent in this. It was really heartfelt, great performance here. It is, of course, released by Angel Studios, and I think this is probably the best film Angel Studios put out, in my opinion. So, all right, coming in at number 6 is The Conjuring: Last Rites. Of course, the final summit of the Conjuring franchise. I thought, the final summit was pretty decent. Great conclusion to the Warrens, and again, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get more Conjuring content in the future, like whether it's a TV show, whatever. Which obviously that is coming, but still, the way to it was a nice way to end like the story of the Warrens, and it's a really good one. All right, my official top 5. We got the threesome. Now, the threesome stars Jonah Howard King, Zoe Deutch, and the stranger played by Ruby Cruz, who ends up having like a one night threesome, and both of them actually ends up getting pregnant here, and crazy co-parenting dilemma. It is actually pretty charming here. The chemistry between like Jonah Howard King, Zoe Deutch is really good. It is a really charming, lighthearted comedy that is well worth watching there. Number 4 is Twinless. Now, of course, this It does of course star Dylan O'Brien, who plays Roman, who joins the support group for Twinless Twins and forms an intense bond with a fellow mourner named Dennis, played by Jane Sweeney. And the movie definitely is like really heartfelt at times. The chemistry between James Sweeney, who also directs it as well, the chemistry between Sweeney and O'Brien is really good. It's really touching at times. Great connection. It's a really like it is of course a black comedy about loneliness, connections and all, and it's a really good one. All right, coming in at number three is Eleanor the Great. Eleanor the Great, of course, stars June Squibb, who plays 94-year-old Eleanor Morgenstein, who relocates to New York City to live with her daughter. And of course, at a Holocaust survivor support group, she stumbles like into by mistake. And of course, like Eleanor spins like a fabric tale of her own wartime survivals here. And June Squibb, I think, deserves an Oscar nomination that she did not get for Thelma last year. It is really heartfelt here. You know the actress from Willow, Erin Kellyman. If you guys think she was bad in Willow, do yourself a favor and go watch this. She definitely has good acting chops, and Willow obviously did not do her justice, and I know she was excellent here. She was at Edge of Four was good. I might just do my review for this week. Maybe I'll post my review up for this up sometime this week. But Eleanor the Great is a really good one. All right, number two is The Long Walk. Of course, based on a book by Stephen King. Where of course like these young men ends up walking, and obviously if they stop or whatever, they are executed by soldiers and stuff. And the movie is a lot. It's really excellent. Great performances by Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Mark Hamill did a great job here. Judy Greer. I mean, it's a really decent one. It gets intense at times, and it's something I'll never do in my life, but it is a really interesting one. And the best film I saw in September is obviously probably one of the best movies I saw this year so far, and that is One Bow After Another. Of course, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Great, obviously great performances. By Leonardo DiCaprio, uh, Sean Penn. Who else? Oh yeah, Chase Finney. Who, by the way, her like Chase Finney is actually named after both Nicole Kidman's character Chase from Batman Forever and Infinity from like Toy Story. So cool name right there. But anyway, of course, Tiana Taylor's great in this. Regina Hall. I mean, it is amazing. Great performances here. Really intense at times. Has some fun humor. Benicio del Toro is great. I mean, it's such a really good one if you guys haven't seen it. But that's pretty much it there. Now, here is, of course, my quick rundown. 28 is Strangers Chapter 2. 27, Him. 26, Takeout. 25, A Big Bold Beautiful Journey. 24, All of You. 23, Eden. 22, Americana. 21, Roof and Boz. 20, The Man in My Basement. 19, Swipe. 18, Griffin Summer. 17, American Sweatshop. 16, Adulthood. 15, Gabby Starhouse the Movie. 14, Light of the World. 13, Bambi the Reckoning. Of course, 10, The Wrong Paris. 9, Downton Abbey, the grand finale. 8, The Senior. 7, Conjuring Last Rites. 6, Spinal Tap 2. 5, The Threesome. 4, Twinless. 3, Eleanor the Great. 2, The Long Walk. And number 1 is One Bow After Another. Let me let you guys, what's some of your best and some of your least favorite films you saw in the month of September? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Tim signing.